The question is, a company with 140 employees estimate that the number of employees will increase by 30% next year. According to the estimate, how many people will be employed by the company next year? So that means increasing. A normal way, multiply 14 into 35, and it will come 189. Let's see how multiplying this here. Plug the values.
That the next year of employees will increase by 35% next year. According to the estimate, how many people will be employed by the company next year?
Ooh, what are we solving for here, Bailey?
How many people will be employed in the company next year?
How many will be employed by the company next year? Absolutely. And, if we just look at the question carefully, we know that number of employees is going to increase by 35% next year. Okay, so are we talking about more than 140 employees or less than 140 employees next year?
More.
It's got to be more than 140, right? And like just knowing that, by the way, we can get rid of two answer choices that are just ridiculous if you understand what that means. What answers can we get rid of right off the bat?
A and B.
A and B.
A and B are gone. Absolutely. And I think where answer choice A comes from, I think that's like 35% of 140 would be 49. Yes. Does that make some sense? It's just that I think it seems right. I think that's where that comes from. So be careful, right? Don't just see two numbers and be like, oh, 35% of 140. It's like, that's not what it's saying, right? It's saying it's going to increase by 35%. So be careful there. It's going to be some number bigger than 140. There's no way around it. So it's either C or D. Okay. Let's talk about calculating this. What this is going to be if we increase it by 35%. Do you have any idea how to increase 140 by 35%? Do you know how to do that?
I mean, my guess would be take 35% and add it to it.
Yeah, you can do that. It's sort of a two-step way. In fact, let's start there, okay? If you find 30% of 35% of 140, we'll find out what that is, and then we can add it to the 140, and that'll give us a 35% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Let's do that real quick. So really, it's just 140 times what? What do we multiply by?
0.35. 0.35,
yeah,
right?
Yep. Multiply by 0.35 or 0.35, same thing. And what does that give us?
49.
That gives us 49, right? Which is where answer choice A comes from. A lot of students would pick answer choice A here on this question. You can see why, right? They just do a calculation.
Yes.
Like, oh, 49, sweet. But that's not the number of employees, right? We've got to add that to the original value, which is what? So that'd be 49 plus 140.
140.
Yeah.
Which is 189.
189. Answer choice D. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that totally works, sort of that two-step method, right? Of like find the percent and then add it back to the original value. That totally works. Let me show you another way to do it that I prefer. I'll show you why here in just a minute, especially if we're talking about a percent increase or percent decrease over time. You have to know this one-step method. Let me show you how this works. Instead of multiplying by 0.35 and then adding it back, you can just take the original value, in this case 140, and instead of multiplying by 0.35, just multiply by 1.35. 1.35. Okay, take a look at that expression real quick. Let me show you why this works. First of all, what would 140 times 1 be?
140.
140, right? So this is going to be at least 140. In fact, it's going to be a little bit bigger than 140 because we're multiplied by something a little bit bigger than a 1. Does that make sense why we know this is going to be bigger than 140?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's not just, it is a little bit bigger than 1. It's exactly 35% bigger than 1 because 0.35 means 35%. So if we multiply 140 times 1.35, that automatically, in one step, increases 140 by 35%. Does that make some sense?
It does.
Yeah, yeah. Punch that in your calculator real quick. Let's just make sure that the math works here. I think it should. But go ahead and multiply 140 times.
It's 189.
Yeah, there you go. It's 189, right? In one step. Okay. Now, this is important because sometimes they're asking you to like structure expressions like over time. Something's increasing by like 35% every year. It's going to look like that, for if T is the number of years. And so you do have to know sort of that one-step way of doing things. We've got a percent decrease question coming up next, where it is over time. So I really recommend getting familiar with that one-step method. If it's percent increase, you should be multiplying by something bigger than 1. And if it's percent decrease, you should be multiplying by something less than 1. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's say you want to increase something by 25%. What would you multiply by?
1.25.
1.25. Absolutely. What if you want to multiply this or increase something by 30%? What should you multiply by?
1.30.
1.30. Absolutely. What if you want to multiply or increase something by 50%? What should you multiply by?
1.50.
Yeah, 1.5 or 1.50. What if you want to increase something by 90%? What should you multiply by?
1.90.
1.90. Absolutely. Questions about that, or does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, great. All right.